You can grow your enterprise up to a point with the support of debt, right? I mean, you grow your capital as three forms, right? It can be in the form of debt, it can be in the form of equity. Today there are structures in between them also, but let's broadly classify them in three parts: debt, equity, and your own internal accruals, right? I truly believe, since I was a banker, debt always has to be like salt in the food, right? Debt cannot be a large part of your balance sheet. If that happens, I have seen so many of the companies just destroy themselves. So which are the other two components of capital which help you grow sustainably? So it's all about sustainable growth, right? Growth cannot be haphazard. It cannot be too volatile. The underlying valuations can be volatile, but the growth of the balance sheet and the companies has to be sustainable. For that to happen, you need equity capital and you need sustained earnings redeployment in the business. Earnings gets redeployed to the extent they are growing, right? So if a company is having a top line of, let's say, $100 million and it's earning $10 million, it can only redeploy that in its business. But what if the opportunities are very large? What if there are multiple opportunities staring at them to capture? That is why the role of capital market comes in. Till a decade ago, our capital markets were not that evolved, were not that supportive of, let's say, smaller businesses. But that's not the case today, right? I mean, Indian capital markets have come a long way. And today, as you are seeing, the markets, as you are seeing fresh issuances, smallest of the companies are coming to the public domain to raise money, right? Yeah. Will all of them create value? No, definitely no. But good businesses, good promoters who are raising quality capital today, and they are going on to deploy it in a manner that they can generate a good return on that capital employed, will definitely create value. So the idea is to back as many of them as we can. All of them will not create value, but at a basket level, I think a huge value can be created.
Just to touch upon what sir also said, I mean, it's not always that a company only needs capital to grow. There's a lot of things outside of just pure capital that is required. So you can grow up to a certain point with capital, but how you drive the company towards that growth strategically, how you plan out for the near future, for the sort of long-term future, is very important in how a company grows. There are, like he mentioned, there are a lot of companies who have absolutely destroyed value, by taking on excess capital. So a lot of times the problem isn't raising capital. The problem is how to deploy that capital. And if you don't deploy that capital in the right way, there's only one place, the company is going to go, which is downhill. So I think that's a very, very important point in terms of what helps a company grow as well.
In this point, the governance will play a very crucial role, right?
Very large role, and that is an area where smaller companies are lacking. When I say smaller, so okay, for our conversation, we will define companies as smaller, which are less than 1,000 crores in top line, or let's say 1,000 crore in value, right? I mean, just for our sake of discussion. So in those companies, just to answer you, governance is an area which needs to be significantly improved. I would not say it's bad, I would say it's lacking, right? So those promoters have built the companies, practically as a one-man show along with their team, right? They are the sole decision makers. They have decided the growth trajectory. They have decided the capital allocations. They have not been in public domain, so they have not really been into compliances. As these companies mature, become larger, come into public scrutiny, public glare, it's very important to have a right governance structure, which is not there today. It's not there. It's not that it's good or bad. It's just not there.
I didn't want to drop any names of the companies, but over the last few years, we've seen a lot of governance issues, and that's why.
Yes, and that is where roles of market participants like us also come in. A right advisor would always want to give an advice just beyond monetary terms, right? So the advice doesn't really range with what should be your valuation and how much money you should raise. The advice also ranges from what kind of setup you need, what kind of independent directors you need on the board, what kind of policies you should have so that tomorrow none of your compliances lapses are there, what kind of the team in your finance and secretarial divisions you should create, how you should monitor the way you're monitoring your business, how you should monitor these aspects also, that tomorrow there is no question on your compliances or the way you are governing your company, right? So for example, all disclosures, for example, any kind of share, sell or buy happens, let's say with the promoter group, how they are disclosed on time, how every material event gets reported on time. There are so many areas which today they are not aware of, right? I mean, obviously they would have all the right intent, but they may not be aware of a lot of these areas, which again needs to be covered. So governance is something which is very holistic. It's just not about one point.